Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book That He's Read This Week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I've read this week is this one. It's called We Solve Murders by author Richard Osman. Was released as a hardback here in the UK on the 12th of September 2024 by Penguin Viking. And books are often described as eagerly awaited. I think it's fair to say this one was. Richard Osman's 4 previous novels were in the Thursday Murder Club series. The Adventures of Joyce, Elizabeth, Ibrahim and Ron down in Cooper's Chase, and were all very well received, great following, and in fact the first one in the series is now being made into a motion picture. So I think last year when Richard Osman said, well, there won't be a Thursday Murder Club book this year, I'm writing a new series about a new father and daughter-in-law detective duo. People thought, not sure. But the good news is, another cracking read. So what's it all about, you say, Cliff? Well, the 2 central characters in this book are a guy called Steve Wheeler. Steve Wheeler is a retired detective. He lives in a place called Axley in the New Forest, small village. He does a bit of investigative work on the side. He calls his company Steve Investigates, but mainly he just likes being in a small village where everybody knows each other and he knows what's going on. He's adopted a stray cat who he calls Trouble and looks after him. He's joined a pub quiz team. He plays in a quiz team every week in the local pub. He does a lot of walking around the village. He's got a dictaphone. He notices things. Sits on a bench which has got a brass plaque on it, which is commemorating his wife Debbie, who died 3 years ago in a railway accident. So Steve has a quiet but ordered life, and he likes his new life. It suits him. His son's wife, his daughter-in-law, Amy, is at the different end of the spectrum. Amy's a bit of an adrenaline freak, and she works as a close security person for a company called Maximum Impact Solutions. She travels the globe looking after high net worth individuals, giving close security. So the story kicks off. Amy and Steve have got a good relationship. They talk regularly. Amy's husband works in finance, so they are fairly disparate. They are spread apart. But Amy likes to talk to Steve, and she tells him of her latest case. Amy's currently off on a private island off of South Carolina. She's looking after an author called Rosie D'Antonio. Rosie D'Antonio is, a mature lady, still full of vim and vigour, and has had a career of, an older novelist, if you will, i.e., was very much the in thing in the 70s, 80s, 90s, went out of fashion at the end of the 90s, but has now come back into fashion. Well, it turns out Rosie has upset a Russian oligarch. She's written a book which is basically based on the character of a Russian oligarch, and he doesn't come out of it very well, and safe to say he's not very happy. He sent her a bullet in the post. He's tried to kidnap her when she was doing a book signing in Nashville, so she's had to call in Maximum Impact Solutions to get some protection. So Amy is looking after Rosie, who's clearly being hunted by this Russian oligarch and various hitmen. Soon finds out that Amy herself is in trouble, and all of a sudden, this is an Osman book. There are murders, there are bags of money being found, and Amy all of a sudden is in trouble herself. She thinks, who can I possibly get to help me? She's not sure about her boss because she's wondering that some of the things that have been going on could only happen if people at her company. They're the only ones that know what she's doing. So who can she trust? And she thinks, well, the only person I can trust is Steve, her father-in-law. So she rings him, tells him her predicament, and he's saying, well, who's going to feed Trouble while I'm away if I come and help you? And who's going to cover for me in the quiz night? Well, it turns out a loss adjuster who knows capital cities, they've commandeered for that job. So Margaret, his neighbour, is feeding the cat. Steve has sort of run out of excuses, so off he goes to help Amy. And this story, whereas the Thursday Murder Club series is based in Cooper's Chase and it's all more or less UK based, Steve is off to, let me check this, starts off with the New Forest, goes to South Carolina, they go to Dubai, St. Lucia, County Cork. So it's absolutely an international type travel, an adventure for Steve. He's still somewhat reluctant to join the world of private planes and chasing criminals, but he's intrigued. There's clearly a master criminal behind all the things that are going on. It turns out this guy or girl is called, he says, Francois Loubet. They know it's an alias, but they don't know who this person is. And this person, very cleverly, is sending emails to hitman brokers using ChatGPT. We see social media in books nowadays. Well, in this one we've got a bit of AI. This master criminal called Loubet is using ChatGPT and saying, write this email in the form of a retired English gentleman. So because he knows that people can by doing analysis of handwriting, writing styles, can gather something from it. So he's basically masking his or her identity. So there's all that going on, and really it's a rattling good tale. Steve and Amy, so travelling the world, trying to get behind who's responsible for all these murders and mayhem. Really enjoyed the read. It's 438 pages. The author at the back of the book acknowledges that these are new characters and you need to get used to them, and he was wondering how well they'd be accepted. But he's written them well, and he also mentions that the writing style, which is slightly warm and comedic, stays the same despite new characters, and mentions that he manages to get a mention of Twix, Greggs and Lee Chard in the first 15 pages. And the characters are relatable. You understand why Steve is reluctant, even though he likes Amy and wants to help her, he's reluctant to get out of his comfortable lifestyle to go travelling the world. Amy is also worried about, not only worried about her client, who she's trying to look after, but herself and also her father-in-law. So really good read, and some nice bits of humour in it as well. Including one bit where they're in a helicopter and Rosie has taken Steve out on the town in Dublin, and he's had 12 pints of Guinness and he's basically thrown up outside in the helicopter. And Amy says, "What's going on here?" And Rosie says, "Well, he had 12 pints of Guinness last night." And Amy says, "Well, hang on, my dad doesn't drink Guinness." And Rosie says, "Well, he does now." So good read, lots of humour. The good thing about it is that in the acknowledgements, the author says clearly there are some characters in this book, and I've mentioned the main characters, but there's lots of other colourful characters as well. He says that clearly there's possibly a future for some of these characters in another book. But the good news for Thursday Murder Club fans is that Elizabeth, Joyce, Ibrahim and Ron will be back this time next year for a Thursday Murder Club episode. So really enjoyed the new series, and you're told on the front that it's a brand new series. And I also like the graphics as well, because on the Thursday Murder Club books they all feature the fox that used to go to Cooper's Chase, and on this one we've got Trouble the cat. So really enjoyed it. I'd give it 7 out of 10. If you're a Richard Osman fan, I think you're bound to like it. I think that's it for this week's brief book review. 10/10. To do it again. Thanks for watching. Bye.